Yes!
Hey everyone, and welcome back for a very special episode of The Completionist. Now before we start today, I just want to say, if you guys missed out, you have to check out my killer interview with Shigeru Miyamoto. I got to interview him for 45 minutes, all about Star Fox Zero. If you want to check it out, there's a little box on screen, give it a click, and hey, if you like the interview, share with your friends. It was an honor to meet Miyamoto and Bill Trinan, and thank you. I can't say that enough. The Completionist has been such a great ride, and I love doing what I do. Even though it's stressful and hard, you guys make all of it worth it, and meeting Miyamoto was a literal dream of mine, and you made that happen with all your support, so thank you. I cannot thank you enough. This year, we're celebrating 30 years of Zelda. Zelda U and Zelda NX, hopefully, are coming out this year, and today, Twilight Princess HD is now out on Wii U, and that's what today's video is about. But it's not just about an HD port. To me, it's about honoring the franchise, it's about honoring what makes Zelda great, and personally, Twilight Princess is definitely in my top 3 Zelda games of all time. Regardless of what anyone else says, I love this game. I think you guys are going to love our review of it, and let's just dive right in. It's Twilight Princess HD. He signed my 3DS! Sorry. Although it sold quite well and was enjoyed by critics, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker left many fans of the Zelda franchise a bit disappointed. Long story short, there were a lot of people out there who threw tantrums when they got a cartoonish Zelda game, regardless of how good it was. So when the next game in the series was announced, expectations were high, with many potential tears on the line. This new game was yet another chance for Nintendo to finally deliver a Zelda title that resembled the GameCube tech demo footage from all the way back from the Space World 2000 event. And based on early impressions, it was clear that this entry in the franchise was much darker in tone than Wind Waker, and perhaps darker than any other Zelda before it. In addition to being released on the GameCube, this title would also be a launch title for the new Nintendo Wii. But this cross-generational porting resulted in the Wii version having to be completely mirrored flipped in order to compensate for the Wii's motion controller. See, the vast majority of the players are right-handed, and it would be weird for them to use a motion controller to control the traditionally left-handed Link. As for you lefties out there, sorry? I think they should have added an option to change hands, considering the GameCube version and Wii version existed at the same time. When it was finally released in 2006, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess received reviews that ranged from great to exemplary, with many considering it to be the greatest Zelda title of all time. I feel like every reviewer says that every time a Zelda game comes out. Despite a few criticisms for its somewhat unimpressive graphics, its lack of innovation to the franchise, and its implementation of the Wii motion controller, the game is still spoken of in the highest regard. Which is why it comes as no surprise that Nintendo chose to remaster it in HD 10 years later. In addition to looking spiffier than ever, Twilight Princess HD also boasts amiibo support, gamepad functionality, and general gameplay improvements here and there. And interestingly enough, this version of the game reverts back to its GameCube orientation, complete with left-handed Link at default. Or if you're adamant about remaining a righty, you can play the game's hero mode from the beginning, which maintains the right-handed aspect, but increases the difficulty with no hearts spawning ever, and with Link receiving double damage. So rejoice, my lefty friends, your time is nigh. The sinister revolution has begun. Just remember that when the culling begins, I'm actually ambidextrous. Twilight Princess opens up a little bit differently than other Zeldas. Link actually has a father figure, with whom he chats about the finer points of life, like light versus dark, boyhood versus manhood, and probably the birds and the bees too. After returning home to Ordon Village and performing some menial chores to help you learn the basics of the game, Link and a couple of his friends are suddenly bum-rushed by a gang of Bulbins and their king. The The Bulbins kidnap the children and retreat. Link chases after them, but then is stopped in his spirit tracks when he comes across a freaky glowing barrier. Suddenly, a dark hand gets all grabby with Link and pulls him through, where he winds up in the clutches of a black beast. Thankfully, Link's bitchin' Triforce tattoo starts to glow, causing the baddie to unhand him. But just when you thought things couldn't get any weirder, Link mysteriously morphs into a wolf. His transformation tuckers him out, and the monster drags him off to parts unknown. Turns out parts unknown are actually a dank-ass dungeon where Link finds himself chained in a cell. Enter Midna, a mischievous little imp who seems perfectly at home in this ominous realm. After taunting and teasing the apparently wild animal that she just met, she frees Link, and the two of them team up to get out of there. After escaping from the dungeon, Midna takes Link to meet the imprisoned Princess Zelda. Zelda explains that this dark dimension is actually the Kingdom of Hyrule, after having been transformed by the Twilight King. When Zelda and her guards were seized by the Twilight Beasts and their leader Zant, Zelda chose to surrender Hyrule rather than have its people harmed. Using Midna's powers, she and Link transport back to the world of light. Now stuck in his wolf form, it's up to Link to figure out how to transform back, how to find and save his friends, and how to stop the darkness that's spreading across Hyrule. 3 goddesses, collecting things, it's a classic Zelda story with a twist of lycanthropy. The narrative includes plenty of subtle references to past Zelda titles, tying the worlds together in a way that doesn't detract from the experience if this just happens to be your first trip to Hyrule. And the adventure only gets bigger and bigger as the stakes raise and familiar faces appear. The narrative, in my opinion, at first seems very different from the Zelda formula. Link turning into a wolf? That's insane. However, if you look at Zelda and its many themes, transformation has been a very big part, narratively and mechanically. Boy to man, mask to mask, and now human to wolf. While the pacing of the game's opening is pretty slow, okay, really slow, it's fairy tale adventure storytelling at its best. You know, fairy tales are often allegories for larger concepts. Maybe Link's wolf transformation is a metaphor for puberty. It's kind of like Teen Wolf 2, not Teen Wolf 2. Teen Wolf 2 makes me gag. Yeah! Twilight Princess HD is like an old school Tim Burton movie that's been re-released on Blu-ray. It's one part moody, one part cheerful, and the whole thing looks and sounds better than it ever has before. The game's sound design is exactly as impressive as you'd expect from a Zelda title, and it's also implemented very well in respects to the game's dual worlds. The unsettling and almost digital soundscape of the Twilight realm is a very far cry from the more naturalistic sounds present in the world of light. Twilight Princess's music hits every mark it needs to when it needs to, from silly to dire to exciting to downright spooky. Music might not be as prevalent of a theme as it was in Ocarina of Time, but this soundtrack is a classic for sure. Although I would like to express that I would have really liked to have heard a real live orchestrated soundtrack applied to this game. It definitely has that MIDI feel, and it would have been great to have the Zelda Orchestra perform, considering that this year marks the 30th anniversary of Zelda. But we'll probably get to that later on this year with Zelda U and the NX. Speaking of themes, the idea of parallel worlds overlapping is nothing new to the Zelda franchise, but Twilight Princess exquisitely explores these themes in its locales and backgrounds. Witnessing a location in both its Light World and Twilight variants is a damn cool experience. While the Light World offers colorful and clear vistas, the Twilight Realm paints things in a yellowish, oversaturated haze that makes it seem like you're in a completely different world. But no matter which dimension you're visiting, things are bound to look great. The game's NPCs exude personality, despite their not having much voice work tied to them. Their impressive facial and body animations are more than enough to make their characters shine through. These characters really help build the world of Twilight Princess, and they're much appreciated. And the HD up-resing makes every character stand out now more than ever. What's also appreciated is any version of Hyrule in which afros are in style, and Hylians that are clearly based on Queen Latifah, and HD Goron nipples, and this kid, Mallow. Just look at him. You know he's gonna grow up to take over the world someday. Give it some time, and this guy's gonna come back to be the main bad guy in another Zelda title. The biggest difference graphically between the GameCube, Wii, and Wii U HD versions comes down to 1080p resolution and a visual haze effect. See, in the GameCube and Wii versions, there's this fuzzy haze to help hide the need for detail, but at the same time, it also focuses on highlighting certain characters and traits. In Twilight Princess HD, that haze effect is gone, which is awesome because the character models look fantastic, lighting effects during sunrise and sunsets look astonishing, but the one downside is that without that haze, you start to really see the age of Twilight Princess HD at times. With something as stylistic as, let's say, the Wind Waker HD port, that game's art style is now going to be solidified as something that will not age. It's timeless. Twilight Princess HD, on the other hand, while very, very beautiful, will not be nearly as accepted on that artistic front. Zelda games have always been known for offering up great visuals and memorable music, and Twilight Princess is no different. But now that things are in HD, you may need some newer headphones to really appreciate how good things sound. Like some Beats by Dre. Yeah, dog, that's what I'm talking about. Twilight Princess HD, just like almost every other Zelda game before it, offers some of the best gameplay you could ever hope to find. It carefully balances the tried and true with the new and exciting, and the result is an extremely fun game. As always, you've got an overworld where you'll be gathering collectibles, playing mini-games, and discovering secrets. Whether you're playing through the main campaign or taking a break with some side quests, you'll be exploring the fields of Hyrule a lot. A few of these minigames are so well designed that they can be considered set pieces unto themselves, such as the Old West-inspired arrow sniping sequence. 360 no-scope headshot, baby! Boom! Headshot!
Okay, let's go. I'm hit! Need assistance! Sector clear.
Boom! Headshot!
Counter-terrorists win.
Link's abilities, while in human form, should feel familiar to anyone who's played Zelda in the past 20 years. He's still got his sword, his shield, and his stoic silence that's only broken when screaming at enemies. But in this game, you can also learn advanced sword techniques from the spirit of a long-dead warrior who may or may not be the hero of time. Spoilers? He's totally the hero of time. Wolf Link has a set of attacks to call his own. He can bite fools dumb enough to get close enough to him, and leap into and maul fools dumb enough to stay away from him. He can talk to animals, follow scent trails, and use his wolf senses to discover secrets. Wolf Link offers a completely different playstyle than his human counterpart, and once you unlock the ability to switch freely between the two of them, you can tackle combat however way you'd like. As far as items go, you've got your Zelda series mainstays like arrows, bombs, and the boomerang. But your new items include the ball and chain that you can throw to smash stuff up, the spinner, which lets you Marty McFly across the surface of the sands, and this thing. Person. Technically, her name is... Oh, here we go. Oku. You know what? It sounds like a bird. It's probably a bird, so I'm gonna treat it like it's a bird saying a bird name. And her son, Jr., can help Link by warping him out of dungeons when he's in a bind. But honestly, just looking at the both of them makes me feel pretty uncomfortable. I know they're just trying to help, but they look like something that was created by a mad scientist and would beg for you to put them out of their misery if it could. I do not want to see that family photo. The Hoo-Hoo's family. Merry Christmas from the Hoo-Hoo and Hoo-Hoo Jr. Woohoo! Jr. only has a head and no body this year, but soon he's looking to have a torso. Midna also helps Link, but without looking disturbing. When you're in wolf form, she can help you hang onto levers, warp you all around the land of Hyrule, and allows you to jump great distances to reach her. That's right, this ain't your Papa Zelda game, we jump boys now. Speaking of helpful ladies, Epona the horse is back, but her features have been greatly expanded. She's available from the very start of the game, and since you don't have a magic ocarina handy, you can summon her using some horse grass. What's cool is that you can actually participate in combat and use items, like your bow and arrow, while riding her. There are a couple of moments included in the game that are built around this mechanic, like this jousting sequence, that are really fun. The enemies that you'll face are visually distinct and will require you to know the ins and outs of your abilities to beat them. You've got your old favorites and new baddies, but the newest and coolest enemy type is that of the Twilight Beast. Every now and then you'll be locked into an arena with a couple of them, and if you defeat all of them except for one, he'll revive all of his brethren instantly, so using Midna's energy field attack to take them all out simultaneously will make battling them a lot easier. These dudes are ghoulish, powerful, and instantly recognizable as something that should be killed with fire. All in all, a great villain. Twilight Princess's design truly shines when you're playing through one of its many dungeons. Zelda dungeons are known for their smart and challenging construction, and Twilight Princess definitely delivers the goods. These themed labyrinths are the meat and potatoes of the gameplay, so you should know the drill by now. Find a map, find a compass, solve some puzzles, fight the mini-boss, get a new item, find the big key, and take down the boss with a new item. But behind the scenes are subtle forces that slowly and methodically teach you to use the skills and items that you've recently acquired, as well as challenge you to figure out the not-so-obvious things for yourself. Just like the dungeons that house them, the game's bosses are wonderfully designed. They each offer unique challenges that require very different strategies. They're extensions of the dungeons themselves, matching the dungeon's themes perfectly, and providing a fight that's tons of fun. You can definitely count on this game's bosses for a great time, and I found myself actually looking forward to facing them, rather than dreading it a lot like in the other games. Let's talk about the two big ongoing side quests in this game, Pose and Bugs. At some point in this game, you'll come across Giovanni, who's been transformed into a golden statue because he sold his soul for a ton of money. Come on, dude. Anytime someone asks for your soul, no matter what they offer in return, don't give it to them. It's never worth it. Giovanni asks you to return his humanity by hunting down the ghosts, known as Pose, that hold the pieces of his soul. This may sound like a concept for a metal album, but it really just comes down to scouring Hyrule for the Pose's telltale lanterns. They only appear at night, and they can only be seen fully while in your wolf form. New to the Twilight Princess HD port, you can use the Ghost Lantern to locate Pose during the day. Or so what everyone who prematurely reported about this thought. This device doesn't do that. It simply informs you that there are Pose in the current loaded field. However, it does not tell you where they are or even if you're nearby them. It just illuminates and informs you that, hey, there's a Pose somewhere on this map. This is very helpful for those of you who are not using the internet to beat this game. If you're a Pokemon fan, then you're in luck, because this game also includes a quest in which you have to collect golden bugs all around Hyrule. See, there's this incredibly creepy little girl named Agatha who will pay you handsomely for every bug that you bring back to her. Collecting them only does good things, as most of the rewards expand and giving you a bigger wallet and lots of rupees. But since this is the HD Remix port of Twilight Princess, you know there's going to be even more things for you to collect. There are now Miiverse Stamps hidden all over the place that represent the letters of the Hylian alphabet. They now can be found in chests and locations that would normally only hold rupees or other unremarkable rewards. Certain side quests pertaining to characters also unlock character-specific stamps. And the big addition to Twilight Princess HD is the Amiibo. Nintendo actually made a Twilight Princess, Midna, and Wolflink specific Amiibo for this game that adds another dungeon that's similar to that of the Cave of Ordeals, except you have to play exclusively as Wolflink and Midna. These Ordeal dungeons are actually more difficult, but we'll touch more on these later on. Other Zelda Amiibos help your gameplay out too. Zelda and Sheik give you full hearts at any given moment that you want, Link and Toon Link give you full quivers of arrows, and Ganondorf makes you take double the damage. Note that all of the consumable item amiibo can only be used once per day. Aside from the few tweaks here and there, Twilight Princess's gameplay is just as tight as you'd expect, and the new features that it offers are just enough to give its own identity amongst the rest of the titles in the series. Now, everyone praises Ocarina of Time as the ultimate 3D Zelda experience. Majora's Mask is my favorite, but I want to add that Twilight Princess is my second favorite 3D Zelda because, in my opinion, race for it, I find the dungeons are actually better designed and executed than that of Ocarina of Time. Link's growth as a hero in this story has a lot more personal growth and stakes to it than just he's destined to be the hero of time. Ilia and the supporting cast adds more depth in this current state of Hyrule. And at the very least, Twilight Princess HD will help you see this all as you play it. But the general consensus will heavily disagree with me, so, you know, opinions. Overall, everything to come out of this game deserves its place in the Zelda Hall of oh god, it's Link and Midna have overcome obstacle after obstacle on their journey. Link has reclaimed his humanity many a time, saved the missing children, and Midna has been revealed as the true Twilight Princess who was cursed into her diminutive form by Zant upon his ascension into power. Now our heroes have finally reached the heart of the Twilight Realm, Zant's Twilight Palace. Upon being confronted in his throne room, Zant reveals that when he was denied the Twilight Throne, he got a little bit butthurt, and in his desperation, turned to what he believed to be a god, the long-imprisoned Ganondorf, who was long ago banished to the Twilight by the sages. Are you really surprised? It's Zelda. There's Link, there's Princess Zelda, there's Ganondorf, the Master Sword, the god. Come on! But I guess Zant's god has forsaken him because after a brief boss rush-like battle, he's easily defeated by Link and accidentally destroyed by Midna when she gets angry and accidentally loses control of her power. The dynamic duo races towards Hyrule Castle to face Ganon himself, and after battling their way through the very top, they find him sitting on the throne like the boss that he is. Princess Zelda is infected with Ganon's darkness, and after defeating her in a quick game of magic volleyball, Midna manages to purge Zelda of the evil within her. Ganon reverts to his true beastly form and charges at Link wildly. You can bring him down with a well-placed arrow if you're in human form, or by standing your ground and tossing him aside in your wolf form. After dealing some damage to his underbelly, Ganon is seemingly defeated. But we all know how our final bosses work. After Ganon rears his ugly head, Midna, with a final act of selflessness, sacrifices herself to stop the evil wizard for good. But of course, her sacrifice does nothing, and Ganondorf shows up again, this time on horseback. Zelda calls upon the power of the spirits to summon the light arrows, and then she and Link hop onto Epona to finish the fight. When Zelda hits Ganon with an arrow, that's your chance to go close up and take him out. Repeat this process enough, and Ganon will eventually fall into the dust. Finally, Ganondorf will lock you into an arena with him, where you can leap at him to enter a clash. If you mash hard enough, you'll be rewarded with the opportunity to deal some damage to him. Keep up the pressure, and you'll deliver the final blow. For real, he's not coming back, I promise. With the Master Sword's blade still piercing his body.
When blade pierced Deacon Frost.
Get out, Bernard! The Triforce of Power fades from Ganondorf, and he finally dies. On his feet. Jesus. Ganondorf is seriously the toughest bastard in Hyrule. The good news is that Midna is actually alive, and, well, transformed back into her natural supermodel anime self. Damn, girl! Link and Zelda say their farewells to Midna as she prepares to return to her realm through the only door that exists between the two, the Twilight Mirror. But just as she leaves, Midna shatters the mirror, ensuring that no realm will ever be able to endanger each other again. With the balance between light and dark restored, life gets back to normal in Hyrule. Children are reunited with families. Gorons sumo wrestle with each other endlessly into the night, and cultists dance around fountains everywhere. As for Link, just like the hero that he is, he rides off into the distance, ready for his next adventure. Oh, he just stopped. The model just stopped. They didn't even fix it in the port. He just freezes. I guess they didn't program him to ride completely out of frame, but that's a little more on the awkward side. I guess you can see all kinds of things you weren't supposed to see in HD. Oh well. Completing Twilight Princess 100% means lots and lots and lots of item hunting. This game's version of Hyrule is pretty damn big, and there are collectibles in just about every corner, so exploring diligently is a must if you plan to go all the way. First up are the heart pieces. Collecting 5 of these will increase Link's maximum health by 1 heart, and they're mainstays of the Zelda games. Not so fun fact, most Zeldas require 4 heart pieces to form a new heart, not 5, Twilight Princess. If you want to get all 20 hearts for Link, you'll have to search every chest, interact with most of the NPCs that offer minigames, and get high scores in said minigames, because these heart pieces can be found in just about anywhere. And I thought the American healthcare system was brutal. These Hylians don't mess around. If you ain't afraid of no ghosts and manage to defeat every Poe in the game, Giovanni and his cat will return to normal and give you a Miiverse Stamp and 200 rupees every time your wallet is empty. Collecting some of the bugs leads to bigger wallets, but if you collect every single one, Agatha will reward you with a huge wallet that can hold up to 2,000 rupees. Thanks for giving me the thing I need to hold all the other stuff you've already given me after you've given it to me, so I waste the rupees. Don't look at me like that. You know exactly what I'm saying, Agatha. So there's fishing, like there are in every other Zelda game. Getting all the fish, including the legendary Loach, is just another thing about bragging rights. I'm bringing this up because there's also the roll goal minigame. This thing is really long, as it has 64 mini levels of a marble game that's long, tedious, boring, and frustrating. But if you manage to defeat all 64 levels, the fishing lady will fill your wallet completely. Unfortunately, both of these things, while difficult and time-consuming, give you absolutely nothing. Roll goal! Yay! Getting all the Miiverse Stamps was really a pain in the ass, mostly because they could be anywhere. You could buy some, do a good deed and get one, explore a dungeon, you unknowingly may get a Miiverse Stamp for any of these things. All of course for the Miiverse, but not really a big payoff for anything other than that. Now there's the 2 secret dungeons we talked about earlier, one being the Cave of Ordeals, which is a 50-round enemy battleground, and the other being the Wolf Link Amiibo Caves, which is essentially the same thing, but even harder. Every 10 floors you win in the Cave of Ordeals rewards you with a stamp and access to fairies at the different goddess springs in Hyrule. Getting down to the final floor will grant you with the permanent ability to get the Great Fairy Elixir, which is full HP for Link and boosts his damage overall. Temporarily, of course. Now, the Amiibo Dungeon is tough. Tough as balls. You'll need to really just be patient yet act fast. You'll fight a lot of enemies that aren't meant to be taken down as Wolf Link that easily, so it's a bit of a climb. However, defeating this dungeon will give you the biggest wallet and allow you to hold 9,999 rupees. Great for when you want to equip that red rupee armor and waste a lot of cash. Woo! Go roll goal! None of these collectibles impact the game that much. They're just something to aim for if you want more of a challenge, or a little bit more time out of your Zelda experience. But the only thing you'll get if you complete the game 100% is the satisfaction of seeing your pimped out game save file when you boot up the game. Or in this case, a 100% game save file on both normal and hero mode. I'll take what I can get. Twilight Princess HD definitely straddles the line between ease and difficulty, especially when you consider the added versatility of its hero mode. There was never a moment when I felt overwhelmed, but I never got bored either. The few times I did die, I knew exactly how and why I messed up. And as long as you have a guide or really any knowledge of Zelda, the collectathon portions aren't that bad. In short, Zelda is too much fun to ever be that frustrating. During my playthrough of Twilight Princess HD, there were 5 game over screens, 2 full campaigns, 100% completed, 90 heart pieces found, 120 Poes defeated, 48 golden bugs collected, 100 Miiverse Stamps gathered, 12 fished for, 115 hours of total playtime, 128 levels of stupid freaking roll goal, and 3 base nightmares I had while playing this game. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD is so engrossing that even if you did not set out to complete this game 100%, you may just find yourself attempting to do so. It's a classic Zelda title that still offers great moments and a great time all the way around. Twilight Princess HD is a wonderful experience if you've never played Twilight Princess. The graphical overhauls to the characters is fantastic. The atmospheres have never looked better. I will say, because of the art style, it does not look nearly as polished or as timeless as the Wind Waker HD, but that's okay because for the most part, the gameplay experience involved in Twilight Princess HD is perfect. Whether you want to be a right-handed character or a left-handed character, if you want a hero mode that's more difficult or the easy, fun, normal mode that you want to have. If you have the Amiibo or you don't have the Amiibo, it does not matter. Twilight Princess HD provides a lot of great stuff in here, and there isn't a better time to play it than now. So, with that in mind, guys, I give this game my completionist rating of complete it. That's right, you heard me correct. Complete it.
Complete it!
That's all the time we have for today, guys, so please, as always, let us know what you thought about today's episode somewhere on the internet. Once again, guys, thank you so much for all your support. I cannot wait to go on the next adventure with you guys with anything, whether it's regarding Completionist, Big Bad Bosses, Super Beer Bros, Defend It, working with Nintendo or Capcom, whoever. This has been a wild ride, and I'm so glad that it's still going, and you guys really make my dreams come true, so thank you so much. Now, if you excuse me, Mark, play some Western Zelda music. Better yet, no, I got it. Hey, everyone, if you like Zelda, check out Nate Wants the Battle's music album, Songs of Time. Check it out, it's great. Support Nate Wants the Battle. Bam, there you go. Play some of his music.